Tonight, wildfire evacuees from La Loche are headed to Regina. Why the STA wants the provincial road tax dropped for refrigeration units. And charges are laid in a fatal vehicle crash.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The northern village of La Loche now joins 7 other Saskatchewan communities under a full evacuation order from wildfires. Evacuees from the community are being transported to Regina. That increased the amount of people currently forced from their homes past the 3,000 mark. Stacey Hine has the latest on the fire front.
This is the Park Fire, burning through more than 63,000 hectares, nearly 3 times the size of Saskatoon. It's forced a full evacuation of the village of La Loche, home to about 2,500 people. The local Friendship Centre posting on social media over the long weekend, saying it shared food and refreshments before 3 buses took people about 850 kilometres south to Regina. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says sending people to the Queen City will help keep families together.
Choices may be divide them in between 6 or 7 small communities and split them all up and have families broken up, or to put them in a central location. In this situation, Prince Albert and Saskatoon were already full of evacuees from previous evacuations.
Several volunteer fire departments stepped in to help with firefighting efforts. Meanwhile, CRCC Wildfire Saskatchewan sent up 3 wildland fire trucks. The company's CEO says he's thankful for the community support throughout the wildfire season.
But it's been open arms. We've had people take our laundry and do our laundry for us. I mean, it's just really been an all hands on deck situation this year.
Hartle says his crews have since returned home, and he believes La Loche is not under immediate threat from the fire. In a social media post, the northern village of La Loche says despite the progress made on the fire, it's been advised to wait until the western side of the fire is contained before considering calling off the mandatory evacuation. As of Wednesday afternoon, there are 82 active wildfires burning in Saskatchewan. 16 are not contained. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, these days, a trip to the grocery store can cost you a pretty penny. There are several reasons for those high prices, and one of those reasons, according to the Saskatchewan Trucking Association, is the provincial road tax on semi-refrigeration units. As Jacob Carr tells us, the STA is calling on the government to axe that tax.
The Saskatchewan Truckers Association wants a special exemption from the road tax. Truckers are currently paying the tax on refrigerated trucks and trailers, but argue it's unnecessary, in part because the units often don't use highways.
And we also found, I told them it doesn't seem fair that you have industries like agriculture, construction, forestry that have off-highway equipment that are able to use this dyed diesel and save the road tax.
The government of Saskatchewan said in a statement that the marked diesel fuel program is in place to help reduce the cost of fuel for industries who do not use provincial highways, going on to say that adding refrigeration units to the program would save about $1 million annually, and once spread out to the entire industry would have a minimal effect on food inflation. Despite the government's reassurances, some Saskatchewan residents say they are feeling an increase in grocery prices.
Fruit is, and coffee products, and chocolate has gone crazy, and we love chocolate. It's gone really high. Just everything in general has pretty much gone up, so you really have to wait for the sales.
While the road tax plays a part in grocery inflation in the province, some food experts say there are other key factors at play.
What may affect food prices are our trade policies, really. Tariffs, and most importantly, counter tariffs. If you notice that the price of coffee has gone way up, that's due to counter tariffs in Ottawa.
The current road tax, the Trucking Association says each unit on a truck costs an extra $24,000 to fuel each year, with the tax coming in at 12 cents per litre.
I grew up on a farm, and I remember it being, my parents would have purchased it for combines and tractors and whatnot, that kind of thing. But yes, it doesn't seem like a lot, 12 cents a litre, but the consumption of diesel fuel for industry is quite large.
The STA says they have been in discussions with the provincial finance minister, but haven't had any of their questions or concerns on the topic alleviated at this point. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan NDP has made it no secret they don't support doing business with the U.S. under the current trade turmoil. Today, they are raising concerns about an American agricultural corporation buying Saskatchewan agriculture assets. Sierra D'Souza Butts explains.
The Sask NDP is calling out the province for not intervening in a U.S. company's purchase of an agricultural logistics business that operates within Saskatchewan.
This is a time when we should be doing everything we can, especially with strategic economic infrastructures, power, rail, energy assets.
Sarah's Global Ag Corp is an agricultural, energy, and industrial products supply chain company operating 13 locations across North America, including in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. One of its current operations is a grain elevator near Melfort. Now, the company is being bought out by Bartlett, an American agricultural corporation.
We should be ensuring Canadian ownership, if not Saskatchewan ownership, not continually allowing big multinational corporations or American corporations to come in and scoop up Saskatchewan assets.
After the deal closed in July, Bartlett said in a press release that acquiring Sarah's will expand its operational footprint and grain merchandising capabilities, adding approximately 45 million bushels of total grain and oilseed storage capacity. In a statement to CTV News, the government of Saskatchewan says it will continue to monitor the situation to help ensure producers have access to competitive and local options to sell their grains, adding it is reckless for the NDP to suggest the government should be blocking and opposing investment that provides jobs and significant tax revenue. Sarah's at one point was going to build a $350 million canola crush plant in southeastern Saskatchewan, but the project was canceled in 2022 due to inflationary pressures. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Almost a week after a crash into a power pole that killed a teenager, the Regina Police Service has charged the driver of the vehicle. Damian Smith has the details.
After a fatal single vehicle crash in the early morning hours of July 31st, 3 charges have been laid out against the driver. The crash happened about a block south of the Northgate Mall near the intersection of 6th Avenue North and Smith Street at around 5:30 that morning. Police arrived on scene to find a vehicle, a convertible sedan, that appeared to have collided with a power pole before rolling. The passenger in the car, a 13-year-old, was pronounced deceased on scene. Following the crash, police said criminal charges were expected. Now, after an investigation by the RPS Collision Reconstruction Team, the driver, identified as 18-year-old Connor Douglas, has now been charged with operation of a vehicle while impaired by alcohol or drugs, dangerous operation of conveyance causing death, and exceeding 80 milligrams of alcohol within 2 hours of operating conveyance. Douglas made his first court appearance on these charges Tuesday morning at Regina Provincial Court. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Manitoba RCMP are searching for a man wanted in connection with a fatal shooting in that province who does have ties to eastern Saskatchewan. RCMP say this man, 52-year-old Frank Laforge, is wanted for first-degree murder and attempted murder in connection with the death of a 33-year-old woman on a First Nation in Manitoba. He's believed to be in the Yellowhead, Manitoba region, but he does have connections in the Yorkton and Kamsack areas. Laforge should not be approached, and anyone who sees him is asked to call 911. He's about 5'8" tall and 150 pounds. RCMP continues to investigate to determine other suspects. A group of Indigenous women are sounding the alarm tonight over low water levels in their communities. As Hallie Mander tells us, they're holding events sharing their concerns about the impacts of the Diefenbaker irrigation project.
A group of Indigenous women from Cumberland House and Star Blanket Cree Nation are hosting a series of events calling attention to the concerningly low water levels in their communities.
It's going really fast. I can see in the next decade, if we continue this way, it's going to be gone. And with the irrigation project, that's going to totally wipe us out sooner.
The Indigenous Saskatchewan Women's Environmental Water Advocacy Keepers are expressing concern over the environmental impacts of the Lake Diefenbaker irrigation project. The team recently visited the E.B. Campbell and Gardner dams, and they say the surrounding communities are feeling the negative effects of limited access to the Saskatchewan River Delta.
We have to do something, before it completely dies on us. We need that water. Our environment needs that water. Our wildlife needs that water. And we as human beings know we need that water.
The $4 billion irrigation project is intended to help agricultural production by utilizing water from southern Saskatchewan's largest body of water to irrigate specific areas of land. Through a statement, the Saskatchewan Water Security Agency told CTV News, quote, Gardner Dam and Lake Diefenbaker were built for 1 million acres of modern irrigation. Currently, there are 166,000 acres of irrigation developed in the reservoir. This means there is a significant opportunity for development while still balancing the needs of other water users in the system. The WSA also noted that they are still collecting feedback from rights holders and stakeholders over the next several months.
It's really important because we're losing a lot of our traditional ways of life. We see it with the fires. We're seeing it with the loss of our water, that it's not just us that's being affected. It's not just the humans. It's the animals. It's all of our ways of life.
The next step for the Indigenous Saskatchewan Women's Environmental Water Advocacy Keepers will be in Regina, where the team will voice their message in front of the Saskatchewan Legislative Building. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
All right, Sabine joins us for our first look at weather tonight. Sabine, we saw a decent amount of rain yesterday. Today, not much going on out there.
Yeah, I would like to say that maybe the sun and heat dried up some of that moisture, but I know some areas saw a little bit more than others. So probably not completely dried up, but we did see a much warmer day today, Lee, than yesterday, and more sunshine. Temperatures did finally get back up into that average range. However, as we head into the rest of this week, the ending of this week and into the weekend, we can expect that rain and cloud cover to return. And by the weekend, a much chillier weekend ahead with the rain and cloud cover as well. Now, currently temperatures are still sitting in the seasonal range for many parts of southern Saskatchewan, and that will continue at least as we head into tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, we should start to see things change slightly, but the average is about 26 degrees. Regina got up to 27, felt like 31 today, but like I said, the picture's about to change, and I'll have more details on that coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
Aye, thanks, Sabine. There was a significant drop in attendance at this year's Queen City X. A little less than 75,000 people paid to attend the 5-day fair, which wrapped up on Sunday. That's about 25% fewer than the previous year. Wayne Mantika has the details.
Crews are still cleaning up in the Real District following the annual summer fair. Attendance was down, but that's largely attributed to a change in how the crowd is counted.
Previously, organizations wouldn't necessarily have the technological pieces in place for really accurate scanning, and so they would use a bit of a multiplier to help fully estimate what they've got. But of course, now we have some very nuanced technological systems, and so
this year's scanned attendance was 74,655, which is about 25% fewer than the 102,182 people who paid to take in the fair last year. Reported attendance used to exceed 200,000, but that included staff, volunteers, and groups that got in free.
a lot of those community programs that would bring in a lot of complimentary attendees are on pause this year. So our Kidway morning, our newcomer day, the free pancake breakfast with attendance, all of those things got put on pause this year.
Generally, fairgoer satisfaction was high.
I mean, I'm happy about a lot of things. It was a really good event for us. Of course, our first year working with West Coast Amusements was absolutely spectacular. Really beautiful rides, bright, clean. The staff were phenomenal to work with. A really great opportunity for West Coast to, collaborate and build and grow with us.
For next year, the same Midway will be back, but bigger than ever. Regina marked entry into the major fair market for West Coast Amusements, so the company plans to purchase more major rides to allow for further growth. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A new film festival in Saskatchewan is getting ready to launch, focusing on African filmmaking. The first African International Film Festival Saskatchewan is set to be held next month at the U of R campus with a theme of African stories as universal narratives. Organizers feel it's important to showcase these kinds of stories to audiences in the Queen City.
We would always want to let people know about not just our culture, but also our art and the epicenter of our everyday.
So I feel like bringing that festival to Saskatchewan is a great opportunity for us to be able to tell our stories and also to share the cultural exchanges, with the Saskatchewan community.
25 films are in the running with awards in 19 categories. 20 of those films, by the way, will be screened over the 4-day festival, which starts September the 10th. Coming up, the Prime Minister is considering removing some counter tariffs against the U.S. and concern from travelers as Air Canada flight attendants are poised to strike. Prime Minister was back in Ottawa today, strategizing next steps in a trade war with the U.S., meeting with his cabinets and virtually with premiers, as two top cabinet ministers are still in Mexico, resetting Canada's trade relationship with America's southern neighbor. CTV's Michael Couture has more from Ottawa.
Prime Minister Carney, which counter-tariffs? The Prime Minister was tight-lipped a day after saying he'd consider removing some counter-tariffs on American goods if it would help Canadian industries. While saying he supports Mark Carney, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has a different take.
You can't have tariffs on one side and not the other. I still stand by what I say. Dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness.
He was planning to deliver that message this afternoon as the premiers held a virtual meeting with the Prime Minister. And once it ended, Ford's message to Canadians is to buckle up for a rough road ahead.
I'm praying that everything's going to go fine. But if it doesn't, I got to ask the people, do you trust President Trump? I don't.
In recent days, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe has called for Canada to remove or reduce counter tariffs on all American goods. Some feel like the countrywide resolve is being tested.
As this has dragged on with no obvious resolution in sight, some of that determination is flagging a bit.
In an interview with CTV News on Tuesday, the U.S. ambassador to Canada cautioned that trade talks could be slow over the next weeks as U.S. President Donald Trump focuses on a deal with China. And that's why some trade experts believe Canada should refrain from retaliating.
I do think we have to hold something like a retaliation as a threat in case Trump does decide to hit us with something else.
And one example of that unpredictability, President Trump announced an additional 25% tariffs on goods from India because that country is importing Russian oil. India's tariff rate could rise to 50%. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A judge has denied bail for 3 men charged in an alleged ideologically motivated plot to forcibly seize land in the Quebec City area. Marc Aurel Chabot, Simon Angers-Andette, and Raphael Lagacé are facing terrorism and charges related to the illegal storage of firearms and possession of explosives. A fourth man, Matthew Forbes, is facing weapons charges and was granted bail. The Canadian Armed Forces has said that Forbes and Chabot were active members of the Canadian military at the time of their arrest on July the 8th. Searches conducted in the Quebec City area in January of 2024 led to the seizure of a large amount of explosive firearms and ammunition. Well, significant turbulence looms ahead for thousands of Air Canada passengers if the airline cannot negotiate a new contract with its flight attendants in the next 10 days. The union representing 10,000 flight attendants say it has an overwhelmingly strike mandate from its members. CTV's Judy Trin takes a closer look at the issues which has boiled over after a decade.
Mike Abraham has booked a flight to Slovenia for a bike tour. He's scheduled to take off just as Air Canada's flight attendants are poised to strike.
Even if I was to actually try to rebook it now with either with Air Canada or with a competitor, say a European airline, the price would be at least 3 times as much.
Air Canada's 10-year contract with its 10,000 flight attendants is expiring. The union representing the workers says better wages and working conditions are needed. Flight attendants average 35 hours of unpaid work each month.
We're not paid anytime the aircraft is not in motion. So any of the pre-flight checks, mandatory safety briefings, all the required stuff that is done on the ground prior to pushback, as well as the deplaning process.
The workers are getting support from the Conservatives, urging the government to amend the labor code to ensure flight attendants are paid for every minute they're required to be at work from check-in to sign-off. Last year, Air Canada generated operating revenues of more than $22 billion. Thousands of passengers could be impacted if a deal is not reached by August 16th.
This will be a test for the Carney government to see whether they have the intestinal fortitude to let labor relations work its way through this process.
Even though Abraham has been planning his trip for months, he doesn't support government intervention, but does support fair wages for workers.
Being paid for your hours on the job, that I think is a no-brainer. I can't possibly understand why a company wouldn't do that.
In a previous statement, Air Canada said it was committed to reaching a fair and equitable contract with its flight attendants. Both sides returned to the bargaining table on Friday. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the United States, 5 soldiers were wounded when a colleague opened fire at an Army base in Georgia.
We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team.
The injured soldiers are stable and expected to recover. Law enforcement was dispatched to a combat team complex at Fort Stewart shortly before 11 a.m. The suspect opened fire where he worked and was quickly tackled by other troops. Officials have not speculated on a motive. The base is home to thousands of soldiers and family members. The Army is investigating. One of the world's most active volcanoes is at it again. Hawaii's Mount Kilauea is erupting for the 30th time this year. The latest episode started this morning, spewing lava from the north vent of a crater. Nearby residents are being warned to beware of volcanic gas and wind-blown volcanic glass. The mountain is located at Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park on the Big Island. It has been erupting since December 23rd, 2024. This year, each eruption cycle has lasted between 13 hours and 8 days. And in Japan, the victims of the atomic bomb attack on Hiroshima were remembered today. A memorial ceremony was held on the 80th anniversary of the attack. The United States dropped a nuclear bomb on this day in 1945. 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on the nearby city of Nagasaki. A total of more than 200,000 people were killed in the blasts and related radiation sickness. Still ahead, looking to inspire the next generation of Indigenous people at a conference this week in Regina.
It's a Rough Rider bye week, but we are still talking football. 2007 Grey Cup champion Wes Cates will survey the CFL landscape and give us his thoughts.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back to a warm, sunny day in the Queen City overlooking Wascana Lake. Temperature warmed up to 27 degrees. We're still sitting at 27 right now, feeling more like 31 degrees right now. We will start to see the temperatures get a little cooler as we head into the end of this week and into the weekend, and we'll start to see more of that cloud cover rolling in. So expect a little bit less sunshine starting tomorrow, with the rain arriving maybe around late afternoon tomorrow. In terms of what we have seen today, again, there wasn't much in terms of active weather. Manitoba has been seeing a lot, and so has Alberta. For us, really the only messaging we have been seeing is the special air quality statements in central Saskatchewan due to, of course, the wildfires. And there could be a slight chance we start to see those statements start to seep back into central southern Saskatchewan when we see the winds shifting and gusting up to 50-60 kilometers an hour. And I'll show you that on your 7-day forecast. In terms of what's to come, though, this is what we have. So tonight we really won't see much in terms of precipitation. It won't be until tomorrow morning we'll start to see the rain coming in from the west. You can see around the Lloydminster area, and then even from the southwest into the Maple Creek area. That's the first taste of the rain. We'll see that system from the south moving over into the Assiniboia Regina area, and as the system starts to diminish that was entering in for Lloydminster, we'll see more rain appear later in the afternoon, mostly in scattered pockets around the Saskatoon Swift Current area, but that system is expected to build more as we head into Friday. So by Thursday late afternoon, much of the rain will start to clear, especially in central southern Saskatchewan, leaving us with mostly cloudy conditions, and there's a system we'll start to see building into the Saskatoon area early Friday morning, and eventually possibility of some more storm activity primarily in and around the Wynyard area. Regina could still see some rain, not so much the storm activity. You'll see more of that continuing to rotate around central southern Saskatchewan and south central Saskatchewan, but I just want to point out it's mostly this band of precipitation we're going to continue to see lingering throughout much of the Friday night into Saturday morning. The hardest hit in terms of rainfall totals is looking like it will be Hudson Bay, but I will continue to monitor it and give you a better idea of what to expect coming into the weekend by tomorrow or even by Friday. Temperatures tomorrow, some areas still in the seasonal range, 26 for La Ronge and La Loche, 23 for Prince Albert, cloudier tomorrow for Prince Albert and Lloydminster. The risk of thunderstorms tomorrow, 22 is the expected high, 23 with a risk of thunderstorm for North Battleford, rain and a risk of thunderstorms for Saskatoon, 25 degrees, 25 and mostly cloudy for Yorkton. The southwest still within average range and a little bit more of that sunshine, less precipitation for tomorrow most of the day, 26 for Maple Creek, 25 for Swift Current, rain expected for Moose Jaw, 24 degrees there, and the southeast expecting a little bit more of that precipitation and risk of thunderstorm, and seeing those temperatures in the low to mid 20s for your daytime highs. For Regina, 14 degrees is the expected low tonight, average is about 11 degrees, and tomorrow 23, mostly cloudy, again with that rain expected by late afternoon tomorrow, but that's pretty much just the beginning of what we can expect when it comes to rainfall. 23 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, like I said, rain on Friday, a risk of thunderstorm, 20 degrees, and then by Saturdays, that's where we'll start to see the shift of the winds and picking up. So 17 rain on Saturday, winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, 22 degrees, winds continuing to come from the north, gusting up to 60, and by Monday, we're going to still see those high winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour coming from the north. 24 is the expected high, and then we're back into that seasonal range, 25 for Tuesday, and dipping a couple degrees to 23 degrees, but we're still going to see those temperatures staying in the low to mid 20s, which is around the average, and we'll continue to see that sunshine return by next week. But the rest of this week, cloudy and much cooler come Saturday for many parts, including here in Regina, Lee.
Yeah, and is it plenty of rain Friday, Saturday, or? Yeah,
depending on where you are in the province. But like I said, primarily that Hudson Bay Parkland area could see the bulk of that rainfall. But I'll keep monitoring it and hopefully have a better number of what we can expect for rainfall totals.
Good day to stay indoors. Maybe go to a movie. Yeah.
Maybe.
Here, a few movies are coming out this week. Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
The White Raven Healing Center is hosting a conference for Indigenous youth in Regina this week with hopes that the youth leave the two-day event inspired. Mick Fable, has that story.
More than 100 young Indigenous people gathered in Regina, focused on culture, empowerment, and healing at the first ever Your Power Within Youth Conference. Attendees were able to sit and listen to local presenters, sharing their stories on finding their path and calling.
We wanted facilitators and speakers that will inspire and encourage them that there is a better life, a healthier life, and that they have a community that cares for them.
White Raven Healing Center is hosting the two-day event. The center is a place focused on holistic mental health and wellness programming. Mitchell Soiwashde from White Raven Healing Center says this generation of teenagers are unique as they had to deal with a world pandemic.
But now that we're kind of doing that turning point, the idea is to provide some sort of normal, life pre-COVID, but also understanding that anything and everything of their opinions and values and issues are important to us.
The youth who attended are from one of the 11 nations that make up the File Hills Qu'Appelle Tribal Council. White Raven has offered an invitation to not only on-reserve youth, but those living in the city as well.
There's certain things that happen in each of the communities, and so trying to address that not only on the nations, but also remembering our urban members as well, and it's trying to figure out how do we address both.
The youth conference concludes Thursday afternoon. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Coming up, almost halfway through the season, the Riders lead the league with a 7-1 record. A look at a few of the pleasant surprises after the break.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
In for another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates. West Riders 7-1 as they head into our bye week this week, their second bye week of the season. Pretty impressive. We're almost halfway through the season, so the first question is simply, what has impressed you, or what has been the pleasant surprises that you've seen offensively and defense from this club?
Well, first off, how nice their bye weeks are, right, Lee? They've got 4 games and a bye basically for the whole season. But I think a lot of folks, Trevor Harris coming off an injury, he's been playing lights out. I think I was kind of expecting that. He seems like the type of player that would want to battle back and be even better once he got back on the field. So I'm pleasantly surprised by that. I think the way Dante Myers has showed up for the receiving corps has been a great surprise. And just the O-line overall has been blocking well. You know, they've had a few different people in at that left tackle with Peyton Collins and Dale Johnson, and then Darius Washington as well, getting a game in there. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think, you know, they've been giving up some yards, but they really looked great last week, so they've been figuring some things out. I think A.J. Allen on that side of the ball has been playing really well. He's filling up the stat sheet and one of the top tacklers on the team. So I think, yeah, everything just seems to be coming together so well that I just really hope that they can just stay on this trend.
Yeah, defensively, A.J. Allen has been my biggest surprise. He went in there after the week 1 injury to Avery, and my goodness, I mean, that's a ratio breaker right there because, you know, you got a Canadian starting in that linebacker spot, and he has been absolutely fantastic so far this season. Concerns, I know 7-1, it's hard to think of concerns considering they're off to such a great start, but what maybe has you concerned going into the second half?
You know what, I think it's just the health, keeping guys healthy. I think the receiving corps is a bit of a concern because there's a lot of young guys that are getting some good time right now that are showing that they can go in there and make some plays, and then when we get Bain Jr. back and maybe Schaefer Baker, and obviously Emilus is going to be back, that's going to throw a wrench in things and maybe throw chemistry off a little bit. Trevor Harris has seemed to work fine with whoever's out there, but I just think that might maybe throw their rhythm off a bit. Other than that, I think just the defense going back into their old ways of kind of, you know, being a little suspect on the run. They're usually tight on the run, but they can get a little gappy or, you know what I mean, open up to certain backs. And then coverage-wise, I think as long as they don't take steps back on the defensive side of the ball, this offense is figuring out ways to churn and get enough points that I think that they'll be a formidable opponent against anybody.
Yeah, the Canadians' injuries is what bothers me. With we already saw the offensive line even before the season began with the injuries that happened there. And then Schaefer Baker, we're going to see him at the end of the season, if at all. And Emilus now on a 6-game injured list. The Canadians have stepped up, whether it's Neald or, you know, Duncan Busby or Picton. But, man, one more Canadian injury on the offense, and you got to be worried about that situation. Yeah. So they have 5 games before their next bye week after this one, and this is a tough stretch. This could determine whether they could be top in the league or whether they drop a little bit. They come back, they're home against Hamilton, then they're in Calgary, the home and home against Winnipeg, and then they are home against Montreal. All those teams currently above 500 records. You look at that schedule, and that's it. That is basically determines the season right now.
I'm excited to see the 2 old dogs go at it. You know, Trevor Harris and Bo Levi Mitchell coming, you know, with us coming off a bye probably bodes well for the Riders, but that should be a really exciting game. Maybe that'll be kind of the game of the week for the CFL that week. And yeah, other than that, I mean, I think obviously Winnipeg's going through its issues. We'll see if maybe they have Caleros back, but it'd be exciting to be able to get a win, or at least split that, or if we could win the Labor Day and take one in Winnipeg. Winnipeg. That'd be exciting. So it's kind of lining up for the Riders right now. You know, record-wise, they're sitting at the top, but the rest of the West is kind of keeping pace. So it'll be tough, but they've got a nice road ahead.
Yeah, the last 5 games: Edmonton, Ottawa, Toronto, and then Winnipeg and BC to finish off. But that's a nice stretch to end. So if they get a good record in the next 5 games, I really like their chances of not just hosting a playoff game, but maybe the Western Final. Well, we'll analyze their next game next week on another edition of X's and O's. As Wes said, it's the battle of the old dogs. Levi Mitchell and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That'll clearly be the game of the week.
X's and O's, brought to you by Campion College at the University of Regina.
Still ahead, a look at the status of Dutch elm disease in the city of Yorkton.
Welcome back. Time now to check out what the rural forecast is looking like tomorrow. Again, we're going to see goodness, I'm so sorry. We're going to see some scattered systems coming through much of the province tomorrow, mostly starting later in the afternoon, but parts of the southwest could start to see that rain, along with the areas around Lloydminster. We'll start to see some rain earlier in the day, but cloud cover will also be making its way through the province, and you can see Watrous could see a risk of thunderstorms earlier in the day. 25 is the expected high. Hudson Bay, mostly cloudy, 27 there. We'll expect to see more of that rain later on in the week into the weekend. 24 and a mix of sun and cloud for Kindersley. Risk of thunderstorms for Lloydminster. 22 degrees is the expected high. And when we get closer to the southern border, similar situation really. Rain for Rockglen and Assiniboia, 23 degrees. A risk of thunderstorms for Carlisle, 23 degrees, 26, and mostly cloudy for Kenora, 26, and a mix of sun and cloud for Maple Creek. But if we take a closer look at Asquith, which is located just west of Saskatoon, a risk of thunderstorms throughout the day. 23 degrees is the expected daytime high, with the winds anywhere between 10 to 20 kilometers an hour.
Well, the city of Regina might be dealing with an increase of Dutch elm disease cases so far this year, but that's not the case in other Saskatchewan centres. As Regina Decloux tells us, numbers in Yorkton are down compared to 2024.
Elm trees provide relief from the sun in the summer, and its canopy frames so many of North America's streets. But there is a disease threatening these beautiful, lush trees.
Dutch elm disease is a fungal disease carried by elm bark beetles. That's the vector of the disease. What happens there is it carries the spores from infected elm trees and transmit it to live ones.
The city of Yorkton recently wrapped its comprehensive Dutch elm disease survey.
This is more of protecting our trees within the city, and also to a cost. There is a cost value to us removing trees and losing those trees for a long time.
Once a tree is lost, it takes a long time to replace.
Around that 50 years, we might start seeing a very good canopy.
Even the 3 identified trees are 3 more than what the city wants to see, as the disease flares up in several areas of Saskatchewan.
The shade, for just natural beauty of the elm tree, it's very hard to lose. As we've been fortunate so far because other cities have been hurt worse than we have.
Dutch elm disease is easy to spot if you know what to look for.
The leaves will start with wilt and then followed by yellowing. And from that yellowing, that infected branch or where the twig is will turn brown.
Citizens are encouraged to report dead or dying trees to the city and are asked to dispose of elm wood at the landfill. The province also has a ban on elm firewood to help prevent spread, and a ban on pruning elm trees from the 1st of April to the 31st of August. Don't let Dutch elm disease take root. If you see it, report it. Regina Decloux, CTV News, Yorkton.
E-transfers are one of the most popular ways to send and receive money in Canada, with more than 1 billion transactions happening every year. It's generally a safe way to move money, but e-transfer fraud cases are on the rise. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
I was shocked. I thought this could never happen to me.
Lola Bielavuk of Toronto was using Poshmark, a website that brings together buyers and sellers, allowing users to purchase new and secondhand items. Bielavuk posted pajamas for $40, and someone offered to buy them.
I saw a link there that was for $40, which is what I was selling it for, an e-transfer. Perfect.
Bielavuk says she was sent what looked like a regular e-transfer link, so she decided to deposit the money.
I clicked Tangerine. I put in my client number and password. So I entered in the security code thinking everything is fine.
But after she did that, the website froze. Someone she didn't know added their name to her e-transfer contact list, and she was scammed out of $2,740. This happened in January. She's been trying for 6 months to get her money back without success.
And I was told that my claim was denied, that I was the one that was negligent.
Tangerine Bank told CTV News Tangerine will never ask you to download software or remote access apps, and you should never share your login information or one-time passcodes with anyone.
Think before you click. Just don't go ahead and click on links that have been sent to you.
Cybersecurity expert Ritesh Kotek says AI is making it easier for criminals to create real-looking e-transfers and banking websites. He says scammers send fake links hoping you'll click on them.
You think you're logging into a financial institution such as your bank, but in actuality you're logging in and giving your information to these fraudsters and hackers.
Kotak advises using auto deposits, strong passwords, and making sure you're on trusted websites. After CTV News reached out to Tangerine Bank, they reviewed Bielavuk's case again and told her, our recovery efforts with the other financial institution were ultimately successful and your funds have been fully recovered. Bielavuk has now been given a full refund, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV, for helping me get my money back from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Stock markets both on the way up. TSX was up 350 points. The Dow Jones slightly by 81 points. Canadian dollar, meanwhile, it went up 1/100 of a cent, so slightly, to 72.78 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold down $11.27. West Texas Intermediate crude down 81 cents. Western Canadian Select crude went down 93 cents. And gas in Regina is commonly found right now for $1.37.9 cents per liter after going down. We'll see if it keeps going down later in the week. Coming up tonight, Master Chef, followed by Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service. Battle of Generations at 9, 10 o'clock match game. No Big Bang Theory, we ran out of them. An NHL player will have quite a story to tell his teammates when training camp opens next month. Seattle Kraken forward John Hayden and the team's mascot had a close encounter with some local wildlife while doing a video in Alaska.
While we were fishing, we had a pretty close call with a couple bears. We got a bear.
Yeah, that is not fun. Hayden and the mascot were in a national park when a bear approached?
Galloped.
And I guess they had to go running. They quickly decided the best course of action would be to return to shore. Along with the film crew, grizzlies are common in the area and are used to seeing humans, and organizers had hired guides for safety, but they still had a close call.
That is actually crazy. Imagine being the mascot. It's like, I'm just here to entertain people at games.
And it did look like he was like being weighed down with the water and the costume.
Yeah,
so
and it was, yeah.
That bear is moving fast.
It wasn't happy.
Yeah, that's not. All right, well, there's more than just little monsters in the second season of Wednesday.
Wednesday Addams. It is an honor to meet the savior of Nevermore.
Can I get your autograph? I only signed my name in blood. I would expect nothing less. I never said it was my own blood.
This is the first
Part 1 of season 2 for Wednesday out today. Yeah. Lady Gaga not only has a guest role in the second season, she's going to do a song called Dead Dance, so there'll be a weird dance just like Wednesday made viral in season 1. Lady Gaga playing a teacher at Nevermore. Wednesday part 2 of the season 2 will start September the 3rd. So 2 parts to kind of, so you can't just look the whole thing.
Tonight. Tuned in.
On Wednesday?
Yeah. Wednesdays are for Wednesday.